All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz, coming off of Bash in Berlin, because I keep saying
Yes.
Bash at Berlin.
Because we were thinking of Bash at the Beach,
Bash at
like
the
the
Beach.
WCW one. Yeah. But no, Bash
Yeah,
in
all the
Berlin.
fun in the sun. No sun in Bash in Berlin.
Berlin.
It was. I'll just say initial thoughts. Big D, how did you feel about this one? I got backlash vibes from this one.
Well, yeah, and I mean, to me, honestly, I was actually kind of looking forward to some of the card, not all the card, because I feel like there was
Yeah.
a couple fillers in there, and overall, it was an okay show. The crowd was crazy and excited, of course, because this is the first time they have a huge PLE at Berlin. They've done house shows. I remember the lead up to it. They were showing
Yeah.
when Bret Hart was like hugely favored and like that. They said house shows, but there was also, I think, an episode of Raw that was taped in Berlin one time, and so that's what made them want to come back to it. So I think that was great. It's good to see them travel, because I like that other cities kind of get a break from having to having the PLEs, and plus we get to watch them earlier in the day, which is always fun. I know they
nice.
struggled with ratings though, because college football started today too, so that was another kind of big shout out to the Longhorns.
That was
nothing.
I know, right? I was like, my BYU Cougars representing today.
There you go.
They're playing this evening. They'll get beat. It's fine. We'll see. They should win, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got low expectations, but I also had low expectations for this PLE too. There were certain, like you said, there were certain matches that I was like looking forward to, but it does have very much a backlash vibe to me, where I'm like, it just feels like kind of a B level PLE. Cody Rhodes is not going to lose, which he didn't. Spoiler alert. Well, that was the first match of the evening, which I was,
we can talk about it.
surprised.
First match.
Yeah, I was surprised that they opened with that, considering everyone else that was booked on the card. You had the grudge match between Dom and Liv versus Rhea and Damian Priest, which was much later. It was like the co-main event.
Yeah, it was
So
the co-main
this
event.
one was kind of odd that it was just sitting there to open. I know you want to kick it off with all sorts of excitement,
Right.
and it was, for me, I was like, it was a good match. It was what it was. We didn't really get a heel turn at any point. Like you had Kevin Owens
Hints.
doing the whole
Yeah.
hints at it, yeah. And then, but then we had the opportunity to take advantage of the knee injury. They started trying to play into at the 11th hour that Cody might have a knee injury, and they talked about that on SmackDown, and he
Yeah.
was denying it. And then he tweaks his knee during the match, and then Kevin Owens just couldn't pull the trigger and do anything to him. And he had the opportunity to powerbomb him onto the ring apron, and he was like, he had the change of heart and couldn't do it. And so they kind of felt like the setup was KO's lost his killer instinct, and his sympathy caused him to lose his opportunity, because if he had just hit that power bomb, he would have won, which, I mean, who knows? That's a kind of a stretch. Like, I think Wade Barrett may have made that comment at one point. Somebody made that
he
comment.
did. It was Wade Barrett.
And-
He was really trying to push him to turn heel.
Yeah, I was really pushing it, and he kind of shoved the cameraman at the end when they were trying to kind of half hug it out. But no real heel turn here. Maybe I'm assuming if he's going to realize he doesn't have that killer instinct anymore, that leads maybe into SmackDown where he does do a heel turn because he's got to do something different. But I mean, we called this and we knew Cody wasn't going to lose.
Yeah. I mean, we knew Cody wasn't going to drop the title. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Besides, he still has to. They got to keep up that main event. I mean, that main event card for WrestleMania, where you're going to have the rematch of Roman and Cody. I mean, that's a given. But
Yeah.
I mean, this match had some fun moments in it. I really, I liked it. It was entertaining. It was really a lot of like Kevin, just like you said, fighting with his inner voices, not wanting to, turn heel. And he had a moment where he did hit his knee. He was kicking him a couple times in the hurt knee. And nothing too like he used to do. And I think that's where he was fighting with himself. And he kept telling Cody, like, you asked for this. And that's where I kind of thought he was going to do a heel turn. I was expecting it on SmackDown, but when it didn't happen, I was expecting, I was like, okay, then for sure he's going to do it. And then I'm still hopeful, because then at the end, when Cody wants to hug it out, I'm like, oh, he's going to stun him right now. He better stun him right now and just roll out.
Yeah,
and
I
leave.
was waiting.
That would have been great too.
Waiting.
Like, stun him, roll out the ring and just leave. Leave with taboos. Who cares? Like, it's cool. But not yet. I guess they're holding off for it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Maybe what they're going to do is they're going to have Cody ask him to get his back against the bloodline in some form or fashion, and that's where he turns on him. But
Maybe.
again, I don't know. But yeah, it was an okay match. It was okay to start the show. I think there was other matches that could have probably started in its place.
Yeah, and I will say too, though, the other thing from here is you have the continuation of the Crossroads as a
Right.
finisher not being
Yeah.
effective.
You have to hit 3 to win.
You got to hit 3 to win, because he hit Cody twice, and then Cody countered with a stunner, and I'm like, wait a minute, the first two Crossroads didn't really put him out to where he had the ability to counter into a stunner, and there was a lot of kicking out of finishers in general in
Which
this
we're not
one,
fans
but
of.
I get that happens at the PLE, everyone's amped up, so yeah, this one was okay. I mean, it was a good match. I'm not going to be
No, of
uber
course.
critical about it.
It was a good match. It
and
was
then
just, to me, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the type of match I would have wanted to see out of them. If that makes sense. Like I think
Yeah.
I think they really needed to put out like like maybe it just needed more time. I don't know, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was, but like, hey, we both got this one right. Next one,
Mm-hmm.
I got wrong and you got right, because we were split on the women's tag team match, which was Isla Dawn and Alba Fire versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. So, Big D, you had Cargill and Belair winning in this one, and I did the whole "it's too soon." They changed the titles too much, which they do.
They do,
'Cause
yeah.
the women's tag titles change way too often.
really do.
They change really quickly. Change more than some people change their underwear, and
Right.
this was for me. I thought it was okay. It did follow the same formula that we've been seeing recently, where Bianca did most of the heavy lifting throughout, and then it was kind of Jade waiting for the hot tag, and then she
Yeah.
finally got the hot tag, and when she got it, she looked good. Like, she did look good. Towards the end, it did get a little sloppy. I think when everybody got tired and they were trying to kind of chain together some finishers,
Yeah.
it got a little sloppier there. You did have Cargill and Belair hitting their double team finisher to pick up the win. Yeah, I was, it was what it was. It was all right. But what were your thoughts?
I mean, I actually like this match a little bit more than I did the Cody KO match. I'm sure we're going to get.
I agree with that. I was more entertained.
But
yeah,
because I like the way I think they call themselves the Unholy Union. I like the way Alba Fire and Isla Dawn kind of work together. I like the little nuances they have in the ring. I think there was one part when Jade was trying to get the tag in, and Bianca was almost there, and who was it? I want to say it was Alba Fire. I don't know, one of them. She went to do like a spinning DDT, but like she popped off the rope, and while she was popping off the rope, she kicked Jade off the apron, which was very
Jade
impressive.
off the apron. Yeah,
Which
that
is
was
really cool because what they were doing, and see, I also liked what the commentary team was doing as well, as far as like, the only time Jade has lost or whatever was because she got disqualified because she lost her temper, and they kept pinching at her temper, and yeah, you could see she was getting irritated, she was getting frustrated, and when that happened, she was livid, which it opened up for double team, which is what heels do, know, and I enjoyed that. I feel that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn work extremely well together. That's why they're NXT UK Women's Tag Team Champions, and they just, they were great, and they still are. They were awesome in the ring, and they put together a lot of great, they're very like traditional style tag team in the sense where they split the ring in half. They work the crowd well. They work the other team well. They work one over until you build up for the hot tag, which we all knew once Jade got it, she was going to run rough shot, and she did. And she did have her anger and stuff, and she was able to get the pin after that finisher, which I do enjoy their finisher. I like that finisher. It's very, it's simple but effective, and I really like it because it plays to the whole. They're both very strong and athletic, and they can do that bounce off German suplex kind of thing. It was really cool. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. But
Well,
yeah,
and I agree that Fire and Dawn definitely looked like the more cohesive, competent tag team out there.
Yeah.
Like they looked good. They looked really good. Obviously Jade's still kind of working through some of the ring issues
they're
that
helping her
she's
get
had.
through. Yeah,
They're helping her do that, and it's working. At times they can be kind of clunky as a team, but they're both great individuals, which that's why I'm kind of waiting for when are they eventually going to turn on each other, and we're going to have Jade versus Bianca, because I think that inevitably leads there, and that would be a cool matchup, but they got to continue to bring Jade up before that.
Yeah.
After this, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the strap match. Big D. I'm gonna let you just run with this one, and then I'll provide my odds and ends here.
Well, I enjoyed it. I knew what it was going to be. I was slightly disappointed. I was slightly disappointed that it wasn't as an aggressive match as it should be. There should have been a lot more blood. Let's be honest. But I know it's PG era still and all that crap. But in all honesty, it should have been a lot more bloodier than what it was. But I enjoyed it in the sense that, you know, CM Punk kind of was able to release his frustrations on Drew McIntyre. I think at one point he had the opportunity to start hitting the corner turnbuckles to start the lights going, but he chose to just continue to whip Drew and punish him more. Which was good because, again, he's just, you know, he's frustrated. Finally got his hands on him. He's not going anywhere. And I like the hypocrisy of Drew McIntyre to ambush CM Punk after he's been complaining the whole time that it's all CM Punk would do to him. And then he does it before the match even starts. So there's little subtle things to the storytelling part that I enjoyed. I like the I guess you could call them near falls or near wins where, you know, they get all of them lit up. I thought it was very creative on the one where Drew thought he was being smart and carrying CM Punk corner to corner.
Yeah, and Punk was
as he would hit him,
him,
Punk would hit him too. Like I like that. Like that was cool. That was a cool spot, really cool. You know, because he was like, "All right, boom, I'm here. Let me hit it too." And you know, they got to the last one, they fought it out, and then they reset, right? But it wasn't. Was it like a spectacular? Oh my God, I'm gonna remember this match forever? No. Was it, you know, something that should have been the main event? Hell no. Maybe this should have opened the show. I feel maybe this should have opened the show.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it probably would have been better to opening the show.
Yeah.
And kind of switching spots with Cody and KO. Mm-hmm. You know, strap matches can be cool, but they're very limiting. They're very limiting because you guys are tethered together. So there's not a lot of cool spots that you can really have going on because there's just not enough space and there's not enough room. So you got to be really creative. Otherwise, it's just two guys flogging each other with a strap. Which at points during that match, especially at the beginning, it was just Drew kind of flogging CM Punk with the strap, and then him kind of taking turns on that. Neither one got that busted. I mean, CM Punk got busted up. They were saying with the headbutt inadvertently a little bit. And then at one point he had like a strap mark on his back wherein Drew hit him pretty hard. But I was expecting more from that if that's going to be the gimmick. Because for me, I'm not real super wild at this point in my life about any kind of horrifically violent matches. I used to watch like ECW and I watched death matches and all of that. And I think I've kind of grown past it a little bit. So, but I'm like, if you're gonna do it, don't do like a light version. Like, if you're gonna do it, just really go for it. I mean, the way
I feel they've held back ever since. I want to say it was Bray Wyatt. I want to say he was the Fiend at the time. He had a strap match against, was it Finn Balor or Daniel Bryan, where he just like wailed on him, and like the crowd just got silent because he got uncomfortable. Because he was just wailing on him. Yeah,
but that's the point of a strap match.
Exactly.
Like
people were like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's why you get it. Because you want to punish. Like, that's the whole point of it. If you're just going to smack each other around a little bit and just be like, all right, cool, no more, you know.
Yeah,
no.
and then it's just like a game of who can hit the buzzers. Like, it turns into a game show almost. Yeah. So,
and there was a lot of then, they haven't had a strap match, and this one came up. Or they've had other ones, I'm sure. But I'm sure they have, but I mean, they haven't had one like that again. I think because I think they got too worried that the crowd was like, because I'll never forget that match. The crowd got real quiet, and it was like some people. It's like
mom and dad are fighting, and everyone's silent.
Everyone's just like, oh crap! It's like, what do you think was going to happen?
It's getting serious now.
It's like inch-thick leather strap. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, and that's where I'm like, if you're really going to sell it as a strap match, like I think there's a certain level of expectation there. But it was fine for what it was. It was fine. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was okay. Obviously, we both knew CM Punk was going to win because they got to even the score. They're going to have the rubber match later. He got his bracelet back finally. Hopefully, he can hang on to it. And a lot of kicking out of finishers in this one too, and not even necessarily kicking out of finishers. I think it was people hitting finishers and then trying to hurt each other more. Because we had Claymores get kicked out of, and we've had
I like the touch of I like the touch of CM Punk doing the sharpshooter and Drew tapping and trying to grab the ropes and trying to tap and all that, and the ref's telling him, "Hey man, this is a strap match, dude. Like there's nothing I can do about it." And he's like tapping and he's trying, like, which is great because it shows CM Punk kind of regaining that. You know, I feel like CM Punk has lost a lot of momentum with his return. I don't know, I'm gonna get a lot of crap for it in the comments, but I feel like he lost a lot of momentum in the sense, not crowd support, because that's always been there. So before y'all try to say anything, I think he lost a lot of steam in terms of how he performs in the ring. Because I think everyone's always had that taste in their mouths from AEW, where he looked towards the end, he looked tired, he looked out of shape. Yeah. We talked about it with the Rumble and even the other matches. Very tired. The Rumble, he did. He looked a lot better in this match. He looked a little bit like the old CM Punk. He hit like 4 GTSs, which was cool to see. And I mean, that's how he was able to get the victory. He had GTSs to make sure he can hit all the things, put the bracelet on, all that stuff. But he looked a lot better than he has before. And they're saying this is his first victory in WWE in more than 11 years. So I guess it was owed, and it's a little more, endearing to him. But I think that's where I kind of was like, okay, I enjoyed this match for that reason, because we're kind of, maybe hopefully this is a back to form kind of thing. And then, he can continue on. And if he, goes part-time after this, go for it. Honestly, it doesn't bother me, because there's so much talent in WWE. Like, he doesn't need to be on TV every single week.
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely do with less CM Punk, so I'd be happy with that.
Well, he's going to be on NXT when they go to Chicago, so that's going to be...
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a given. Yeah. I totally get that. Well, and I also think... I don't think it's a return to form for CM Punk. I think that the strap match format lends itself to his ability level right now. So that's where he doesn't have to do it. You're not running the ropes a lot. It's a lot of stand there and hit each other or get hit with stuff. I think the format really benefited him, which I think is why they went for it in this case. It makes sense, and it's within the realm of his ability. So we'll see if he ends up in a match where he's got to run a little bit more. I don't know, but it was good. It was fine. It was what it was, and that led us to the co-main event. Strangely enough, which was the I'll call it a special attraction of Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio versus the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. This one was fine. This one was a fun match, I will say. I think I had more fun watching this one than some of the others. There were some confusing moments. I mean, it started out, it should have been a blowout on paper. I will say that. Like, it should not have been competitive at all. And it did start out as a blowout with kind of Damian Priest easily kind of ragdolling around Dominic, and then Rhea kind of doing the same thing with Liv. And then you had heels being heels and distractions and all that coming into play, and cheap shots from Liv to kind of keep him keep Dom competitive in the matchup.
Right.
They were just kind of there was a lot of odd spots here that I didn't like, involving the referee, and maybe the referee just not using judgment, because there was a moment where Dom got laid out, and then they did the tag for Liv to come in, and then Rhea came in, and then Dom was just laying there in the ring for 2 minutes. And I'm like, the ref didn't push him out of the ring and be like, hey, you got to go. He just kept waving and going, hey, you got to go. And then he just they're wrestling around his corpse. And I'm thinking, okay, in a tag match, they would never do. They've never done that. They never oh, the other guy's hurt. Just leave him there.
Or he'll just roll out of the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, he just rolls out, or just roll him out. So the fact that the ref just kept kind of shooing at him and he wouldn't leave, and then that was just so they could do the bit with him standing up and trying to apologize to Rhea. And then I'm thinking, so now he's standing up and he's interfering with the match, and he's not like a person. He's still not going, hey, you got to get out of here. Even though every time anybody else gets in the ring, he goes, hey, you got to get out of here. If it's a face and then the heels double team. You didn't try to do that with Dom to get him out. And they both... Liv was attacking Rhea while Dom kept getting in front of her. And I'm like, and he's still not doing anything about this. And they kind of used it to turn the tables on Rhea. So that was all just strange. And there was just a lot of incompetent moments that happened with the referee that kind of justified for here, we're going to have these wacky exchanges between everyone. But it doesn't make sense from a wrestling standpoint unless he was the world's worst referee, that all that would have been happening. So there were moments where that took me out. The double Razor's Edge was cool when they hit the double Razor's Edge on Liv and Dom. And then, of course, you knew it was coming. We got all the interference from the rest of the Judgment Day. That the ref somehow missed again. Like every time the Judgment Day would come running down and attack somebody, it's like the ref's back was turned and he missed everything that would happen. But then immediately when it was time to do a cover, he turns around and like starts trying to count the pinfall.
Yeah, then he is aware.
Yeah, then all of a sudden he was aware. But Rhea did end up hitting the Riptide on Liv and picked up the win for the team as expected. I think we both called this one, right?
I was saying Dom and Liv were gonna win just due to Judgment Day shenanigans. I was expecting Finn Balor to cost Damian the match, and then that was
that's right. That's right.
But I guess what this does now is this lines up Rhea for a women's world championship match, which she's owed. So I guess this kind of does that part for them.
Yeah,
so we'll just have to wait and see what becomes of it. I think they're just gonna bury. I kind of hate that they buried Dom a little bit in that. You know, Rhea was able to beat him and Liv up simultaneously while Damian just kind of kicked back. That looked bad on both of them. So that I didn't really care for. But overall, it was a meh kind of match. It was okay.
Yeah. I was like, it was when it had enough fun spots that for me, I was like, I'm wrestling entertained. Like, this is fine. This isn't the greatest thing ever.
I did like when Carlito was on the apron and Rhea ran out until like pulled his legs out. And then Liv hits the sunset bomb into the barricade. That was a nice spot. I did like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I will say that was a really cool spot. But
yeah, I think the best spots were the stuff that kind of happened outside of the ring with interference. Because you also had the one where I think Liv like almost overshot. She went for like a suicide dive between the ropes and almost overshot and like just like kneed her in the face.
Yeah,
it still looked cool. Like she landed it, but all the spots that were kind of happening with the craziness, and then there was the one where Rhea picked up Carlito on her shoulders and then like walked backwards and like
that's what she did. I'm sorry, she picked him up and then slammed him face first into the apron.
And she slammed him face first, and it was like, on the ring apron. You already did your thesis on that. The hardest part of the ring, and so those kind of neat, fun spots for me. I was like, this kind of keeps me in it. Like the whole concept was a little silly leading up to it anyway.
Yeah.
So I was entertained enough, and that led us into Big D, the main event, Randy Orton versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship.
For sure.
Take it away for your match of the night. Yeah, the match of the night definitely, but take it away.
This was, and honestly, you knew it was coming just because of who was wrestling. You had Randy Orton and Gunther. Two ring technicians, amazing competitors. They know the business so well. They do the business so well, and I loved every bit of the storytelling. It was like Randy came in with a purpose. I think he eventually ended up. He eventually ended up hurting Gunther's shoulder, and then he just worked on it, right? Kept working on it. He did a few little heel spots just, because the crowd, they can boo him because he is the foreign heel in this aspect, which is a rarity to see for Randy. But it was cool to see, the folks behind Gunther, because obviously this was there, kept saying his adopted hometown because he's technically from Vienna, Austria. But just so many spots. You had the suplex. You had not the suplex, the one where he picks him up and just throws him onto the table, but then he like stacked stairs to do it like a more elevated one. Yeah. You had Randy Orton hurting his back and Gunther playing to that. And I like that they had Gunther trying as hard as he could to do the powerbomb with a bum shoulder, which was extremely difficult to do because guess what? If your shoulder hurts, you can't lift somebody over your head like that. I think he hit it once, but he wasn't even able to do that stack pin that he normally does because he's just so beat at the time. There's a lot of back and forth, heavy hits, huge chops as always. Randy takes those chops very well, and he kept control for a good while when he kept on messing with Gunther's shoulder. He took him outside the ring, worked him really well on the stairs, tables. He kept breaking up the count in and out, in and out, in and out. And just really, it was a long match. It was a slower paced match. But what made me really enjoy it was just the way, it's just the way Randy and Gunther tell the story in the ring, Randy being that savvy veteran who's looking for that 15th world championship, and Gunther, he's not a young buck, but he knows his way around the ring and he knows how to control a match as well. And so that was actually really cool to see. And then he kept trying to hit the power bomb and he couldn't. So finally, I think Randy Orton was trying to hit the RKO again, and Gunther was able to shove him down to where Randy Orton kind of fell. and landed on his butt, and then that's when Gunther ran in and just grabbed him with a they call it a sleeper rear naked choke, similar thing,
Yeah.
which makes sense because if he can't use the right shoulder, he can hook with the left arm and he can just wrench back, and he did. I like that he kept, Randy kept trying to fight out of it and kept trying to get up. I think at one point he did, and then Gunther let him go, smacked him around, and then grabbed it again and just went back to it again, wrapped the legs around, and eventually made Randy pass out. Not tap, pass out, because
pass out.
that's the key point in it. And a rarity, Gunther after the match offered a handshake to Randy and respect, and Randy took it, and that's where they pretty much closed off the show. But honestly, it was a very great match. I enjoyed every bit of it. Randy Orton hitting all the Randy spots, and then of course all the hard hitting offense that you saw on both ends. It wasn't one sided. It would go one sided for like a few minutes, and then it switch back over. The momentum was just a lot of momentum shifts. You did have moments where you thought Randy was going to run away with this thing because he just had full control and he was feeling himself, and Gunther was able to overcome just because he is that good. So I said it before, Gunther's going to have a lengthy title run, and that's why I was saying he's not going to drop the title to Randy, and he didn't. But again, great match.
Well, and this was his first official title defense, right? After winning the title, I think technically. Because he hasn't defended against anybody, right? He just had the fight. I was like, I don't think he's defended against any. I think this was like his first official after winning the title off of Damian Priest. Because who has he wrestled?
He has. I could tell you right now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think this is his first title defense. Which I was going like, that'd be really surprising if he lost in his first title defense. But I'm like, WWE's done stranger things before, but we both had called this. I'm like, it was clear Gunther's going to have a long title reign. He wasn't going to lose here to Randy Orton. This one was really good. It was my match of the night as well. It was more of that kind of slow plodding, roughneck style that they were doing with this one, which is very brutal. The big chops. You had Orton beating up Gunther's arm, and everybody got marked up. Like Gunther's arm really did have a bunch of marks on the shoulder and then on the elbow as well.
Yeah.
And then Randy's chest did get pretty chopped up as the night went on. So it was very brutal, but this was stylistically a match that I think it played well to. This is what Gunther always does.
Yeah.
He does all those things. And then Randy Orton now, let's be fair, at his age at this point, Randy's great, but this type of pace really benefits him too.
It does.
So I thought they were great. This does feel, the more that I think about it, I feel like we've talked a lot about John Cena being on the retirement tour. I feel like we're kind of quietly watching Randy Orton's retirement tour also, because he's having these big matches and then he's losing in all of them. And I think he's just not being as obvious about it as John Cena is.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's kind of heading towards that way as well. And so you see, the handshake from Gunther at the end. I love the finish because you don't really see sleeper hold pass out finishes.
No.
Like I knew he was going to win. I just didn't expect him to win this way. Yeah. And I thought that was a really brilliant way to do it. If he's pulling out all the really stops. Yeah. Randy still looks strong because he doesn't tap out. Like you had to make him pass out. It was kind of like, what was it? Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin when he passed out from the sharpshooter.
Yeah, because of all the blood loss.
Yeah, and the blood loss, and then he just collapses and passes out. So it's like he saves face even though he lost. So I thought it was really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Was expected, but the finish was unexpected for me. The way that it happened that way. I agree. So I liked it. I thought it was as well as they could have handled it, kind of knowing you knew what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah, but like I said, you have two competitors that are just, and I know Gunther's gimmick is the ring general, but so is Randy. Randy Orton is a ring general himself, and he is just, they just worked so well together, and it was, I think it was everything the crowd wanted, and I think it was great. And if this is Randy Orton's retirement run, give him the 15th title. Let him have one more title.
Let him have one more.
I would say, yeah, he deserves it. He does so much for the company. Randy Orton is one, honestly, in my opinion, the best in the business. I hold that regard, of course, with Triple H and them too, but Randy Orton just phenomenal in everything he does. So hopefully we'll see.
Well, he's great. He's done so much, and he's looked great coming back. And I look at him now like, man, he's carrying a lot of weight. Like, it's good weight, but
290
like,
now.
he's like 290.
290.
He's a big boy. Like, I was noticing his belly had a little bit more of a pudge today than it has when he came back. And I was like, he's still got like six pack, but I'm like, yeah, he's getting heavier now and heavier, and he's got that big frame, and he's 44 years old. I mean, he's up there. And I didn't realize that AJ Styles was 47.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles is like the same. He's the same age as John Cena.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me. So AJ's got to be on the retirement tour at this point too. But it'll be a shame when they start hanging it up. But you know, it's amazing what they've been able to do for as long as they've been able to do it and do it so well. So, oh man. But yeah, it was a good finish. It was to a show that I'll call it a B show. Just because as far as PLEs go, this was a nice way to round it out. To close up the show.
I agree. I
That's
give it a B.
for,
like I said, there's areas of opportunity there. I think there's certain matches that maybe could have just been either replaced or done differently. But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. It was fun. It was the crowd loved it. They were going bananas, which was great.
Yeah, the international crowds always have a good time, chanting the whole time. Like, they were into it. Always very appreciative. So it was cool. Maybe not as vocal as the French crowd at Backlash. But this crowd was really cool too. It's really. Yeah, they're still the MVP crowd. They're for the rest for the year so far. I don't see anybody topping it. But yeah, that was it for Bash in Berlin, and then we'll see all the fallout coming up on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. It's just called SmackDown, not Friday Night SmackDown anymore. So it'll be interesting to see. I think SmackDown's got the Bloodline versus DIY and Street Profits is they've already announced as a main event. We'll see.
Raw has the number one contenders match for the Intercontinental title too, so
that's right. Yeah. So continue a lot of storylines that have been playing out that haven't been continued. We'll see the fallout from Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, and the splash on top of the car and all that good stuff. There's a lot of things that just didn't get addressed on the PLE that we'll see the continuation of as well.
Yes.
So looking forward to it. But that's what we got today. It's short and sweet because the PLEs now are short and sweet, unless it's Survivor Series or SummerSlam or WrestleMania. One of the big ones, one of the big four. But we appreciate your support as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments if you disagree with us, agree with us, or just want to talk wrestling. That's what we like to do here as well. And that's what we got for this week's edition. Till next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.